how do I learn to be less socially inept? Like, I'm good at talking to people on a webcam.
Uh-huh.
Talking to people in real life is a different story
Oh,
because
yeah,
there's
there's a
body
lot more body
language.
language and context and distractions, totally different.
Yeah. So, like, I was not very good at that. And
Okay.
so I thought, how do I get better at this? I should go to used car dealerships. I should pretend to buy a car. I should lead the used car salesman on, and I should study them and learn from them. And that will help me get over my anxiety. And that will teach me how to interact with people. So I did.
Holy shit,
And
and did it work?
I made a few attempts to do photography full time. All of them failed because
Okay.
of anxiety and various other things. Like, this is also just like a little bit about me too.
Okay.
Like, I've dealt with anxiety and stuff like that, and it's very easy just to say anxiety, but I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and the reason I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh was because I was existing at home doing nothing but playing Guild Wars 2. Like,
Mhm.
I hadn't left the house in 2 years because I was afraid to go outside,
Ooh,
and I was afraid to get in my car and drive because I'm gonna have a wreck, like something bad's gonna happen, like I can't
sure,
do it.
sure.
Like, it's just safe to stay in. So I was like, I need how the fuck do I find an outlet where I can get outside and go talk to people and meet people? I could
Yeah,
play Yu-Gi-Oh because the people that play Yu-Gi-Oh are weirder than I am.
true.
That was my thought, and it was true.
You were
And
right.
so, I would go to Yu-Gi-Oh every Saturday, and every
Uh,
Saturday, I would have to pull over to the side of the road, sometimes more than once, open the car door and throw up because my anxiety was so bad that it just, my body couldn't handle it, but I made myself go. I just there were a few times that, I couldn't manage to do it, but, I went, and it was awful. Lots of panic attacks in there, lots of just horrible, awful shit,
mm.
and I don't know, that
But you
stuff
did it.
resurfaced. Yeah, I did it, and, that stuff resurfaced with photography, and, I ran into
Right.
problems that I never anticipated having. Like, I would deal with real estate agents. I'd take pictures of a house,
Mhm.
and they'd say, "These are good pictures, thank you," and that was the end of it. I'm like, "Cool, so that's $100?" And they're like, "Well, I could have just taken the pictures myself with my phone." And I'm like, "Yeah, and you could not sell the house. That's $100, thank you." And they're like, "Actually, I could give you 50." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And so that's when I learned, not to deliver content to people before they pay.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
I just thought that, and then I learned that people don't really want to pay you. They just want you to give them stuff, and you get to network and you get experience. You get to build your portfolio. And I'm like, fuck this is stupid. So, anyways, the anxiety that did not help. The
Right.
anxiety started to come back from that, and so
Wondering if
I
you were even
found,
gonna get paid for your work. Yeah, that sucks.
yeah, I found interesting ways to deal with it because I was like, how do I learn to be less socially inept? Like, I'm good at talking to people on a webcam.
Uh-huh.
Talking to people in real life is a different story
Oh,
because
yeah,
there's
there's a
body
lot more body
language.
language and context and distractions, totally different.
Yeah. So, I was not very good at that, and
Okay.
so I thought, "How do I get better at this? I should go to used car dealerships. I should pretend to buy a car. I should lead the used car salesman on, and I should study them and learn from them, and that will help me get over my anxiety, and that will teach me how to interact with people." So I did,
Holy shit,
and,
and did it work?
yeah, I'm pretty good at talking with people now,
Fuck.
but
That's
and, reading
amazing.
situations. Like, this is the kind of person, I'll realize eventually that there's some problem or that I'm facing some difficulty,
Uh,
and, I'll realize in my head, I can either just fucking give up, and I can just, deal with life, and life can be shit, and I've lived through enough shit, whatever, or I can fucking, go try something. Maybe it doesn't work, but I tried,
mhm.
and so that's just kinda,
Yeah.
where I went with that. Feel free to,
Yeah.
interject or,
Oh,
ask me any questions.
I've a
I'll
few
just keep
thoughts, but this is an incredible story. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually, it's really interesting you mentioned anxiety. I talked to, a streamer a couple weeks ago on the show, um, who he actually is formally diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and he described a situation that sounds a lot like yours, like, goes through periods where he can't leave the house, pukes a lot, like, just, he got himself into a situation once where he literally would not leave his aunt's house because he had so much anxiety, like, he wouldn't leave her side, it's serious, but I think I your story about how you kind of applied a method to dealing with it is remarkably it strikes me as being remarkably self-observant, like, to be able to understand that if you just keep doing what you've been doing or keep doing what feels safe, that you'll never solve your suffering. You'll never overcome your suffering, and you have to try something. And the key to trying something is to do it even if it sucks, and to try it out for a little while. So the UGO you mentioned, the used car dealership thing is it blows my mind because that's the kind of thing I think you see in a rom com. Like like
I'm yeah, like with me, there's no like on a scale of 1 to 10, there's no 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There's
uh-huh.
like 1, 2, 9, and 10.
Mm.
Like those are the only numbers that exist on that scale. Like I'm either doing like literally like I'm either inside like I spent years of my life inside the house in bed with the lights off for 14, 15 hours a day staring at the ceiling wanting to die, like
Jesus.
because my depression was that immense and insurmountable and things had happened in life that broke me, and so I did that, and like Guild Wars 2 is what pulled me up away from that
Yeah.
and helped a lot, and then like slowly and gradually I've been able to get away from that,
You
but like
outgrew
it
it.
sucks. Yeah. And like it's just oh like for me, it's just like I exist in a situation that sucks for a long time, and eventually I just get really mad about it.
Mhm.
I do something crazy to get out of it. Not
Uh-huh.
crazy in like a really intense and powerful, like
Yeah.
the type of thing
Not
that you would work.
irresponsible, just very
Yeah,
direct and motivated.
yes. It's like let me find the best way to do this, and I'll just do it. I don't need baby steps. I'm just putting the big shoes on. We're
Yeah.
going for it.
Yeah.
And so, like,
You min-max that shit.
yeah, I guess. But in like I don't like I've dealt with a lot of stuff in my life and like part of what I'm doing now. Like I got into automotive photography for a while and was really into that.
Okay.
And like I like cars. Like I like speedrunning dungeons. I like driving really fast. And like
Hmm.
my whole family, like hot rods, drag
Okay.
strips, like back roads at 3 in the morning. Like that's the kind of
Texas.
family I come
Hell yeah.
from. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. And so like I've liked cars. Um, and I thought, uh, people take pictures of cars and people get paid money to do that. That'd be fun.
Mhm.
So I tried to do that and then realized two things. The situation with the real estate agents was exactly the same. Like, it didn't matter if you took a good picture of someone's car, they didn't want to pay you with it because they wanted to post it on Instagram, and mentioning you in the description was good enough payment. Fuck that. No, it's not. And also, they were willing to actually pay people, but the pictures I saw people pay for were absolute dog shit, and I didn't understand it. And then I figured out people don't actually care if the pictures are good or not. They'll pay you to sit there and ask them questions and talk about their car for an hour.
They just want a
And so,
friend.
yes. So, like, I've taken pictures of people's cars that are really good, and I've not made any money from them because the person's like, "Well, I don't sorry, bro, I don't have the cash. I just spent $700 on parts." And it's like, you could spend $700 on parts, but you couldn't pay me $100 to take some really nice pictures that you'll have forever. Okay. Like, you couldn't even pay me $60 because I was willing to cut you a deal. Okay, fine. But like suddenly you start asking somebody questions like, "Oh shit, bro, what kind of exhaust is that? I've never
Uh-huh.
seen one before."
Uh-huh.
They're like into it. They're like, "Yeah, where do I send the PayPal?"
Huh.
And it's weird. So like, if any of you are trying to get into photography, like it's literally like it. I would go so far as to say, like, if you can put a camera, like if you can get a camera and get a decent lens and just set the camera on full auto and just like take pictures and have no clue what you're doing,
Uh-huh.
if you can do that, but you're really good at talking to people and making them feel special, you could be a successful photographer. Like,
Yeah,
people would pay.
sell
They don't care
yourself.
if the picture's good or not. Like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, I think
It's
you're
weird.
right, man. Like, I've seen that in my own experiences in the tech business. Like, sometimes the sale is not about the product at all, it's about the people. Do you
Yeah.
like each other? Um, and if you don't like each other, it's really hard to overcome that. Uh, but that's a pretty cool life lesson you stumbled into there.